Welcome to the podcast for and about Colorado Springs. I'm your host, Brittany Felix, and every Monday through Friday I'll be talking about a different aspect relating to the Springs, including upcoming events, restaurant reviews, local business spotlights, media coverage about the Springs, public works projects, local activities, answering your questions about the city, and much, much more. Be sure to subscribe to this podcast so you don't miss any of the updates. And also follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can find links to all of those social media accounts at springspodcast.com/social media. The Colorado Springs podcast is proudly sponsored by Elevation Hydration. Elevation Hydration is the only hydration therapy clinic serving Colorado Springs, and they are dedicated to helping you elevate your life. They use intravenous vitamin therapy to help athletes needing a boost of energy or help recovering after a tough competition, people experiencing cold-like symptoms or dehydration from the flu, anyone needing to recover quickly from a rough night out. I'm looking at you, college kids. And just anyone wanting a healthy alternative to preventative care. They have a wide variety of hydration packages to help address whatever your needs are. They're conveniently located inside Lush Beauty Lounge at 812 Village Center Drive, and if you mention this podcast during your visit, you'll receive $10 off any hydration package. To learn more about Elevation Hydration or to schedule an appointment, visit springspodcast.com/hydrate. Welcome to episode 44 of the Colorado Springs podcast. Today is Tasty Thursday, so I am doing another restaurant review. And as I mentioned in yesterday's episode, the restaurant I'm reviewing is quite a bit different from anything else I've done so far. I did branch out from my normal burgers and Mexican food, and we actually tried an Indian restaurant this time. Now, I do want to preface this by saying that this was the first time that I have ever had Indian food in my entire life, so I don't really have anything to compare it to know whether or not this is spectacular Indian food or just kind of average. So with that in mind, I'm just going to talk about our experience and, having this be the first time, what we thought of the food. So the restaurant that we tried was actually India Palace, which is located at 5644 North Academy Boulevard. And the reason we tried this is actually because my sister-in-law loves Indian food, and she has not had it since they moved here, which was over a year and a half ago. So she wanted to try a place, and this particular restaurant is right next to the gym that she goes to, so she's had her eye on it for a little while now. Now, first things first, they do have a buffet, and so it gets a little bit confusing. She actually suggested the restaurant, thinking the buffet was available at all times, and thought that would be a great way for us to kind of introduce ourselves to Indian food by trying a few different things. Unfortunately, the buffet is not actually available all the time. So the buffet is actually only available during lunch, so every day between 11 a.m. to 2:30 p.m., and only at night on Sundays. So to start off, I did notice that on their website, they actually had a coupon for buy one dinner entree, get the second one for half off. There's a limit of one coupon per table. And it does say on this particular coupon, the dinner menu is 7 days a week, and it includes a free choice of beverage. I will say, though, however, that I don't think they actually applied that to our ticket, because with both of our entrees and me ordering a drink, our ticket still came out to $30. So I think they had to have at least charged for the drink in order for it to have been that much with, buy one entree, get one half off. Now, granted, both of our entrees were $16 a piece. So keep that in mind if you are going, especially if you are not going for the buffet, that this place is not exactly the cheapest location. I think they did have some meals in the $13, $14 range, and then I think even up until like $18, if you get like the lamb or something. And both my husband and I actually ended up picking the same thing, which was the chicken kormas. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. Kormas. And the description says that it's a very special, delicately spiced dish of tender marinated pieces of boneless meat, cooked with onions, ginger, garlic, whipped cream, cashew nuts, and mild spices. And at first glance, my husband did not want to try this at all because he thought it sounded so odd with the whipped cream, but I explained to him that that was mostly just to cut down on the spice so that it's not quite so hot, because Indian food is notoriously known for their use of spices and for the heat that their dishes can have as a result of those spices. So once I explained that, he was a little more on board, and we both got it, but we did do it a little bit differently. I went mild on the spices because you can choose the level of heat that you would like, and he, I think, did medium. And that's something to keep in mind if you've never had Indian food, is that generally it's going to be hotter than what you anticipate. So while medium may not seem like it's very much, it actually did have a little bit of a kick to it. And my future brother-in-law got a different dish, and he actually ordered it hot, which there is a level above that even. And he ordered his hot, and he likes spicy foods. Actually, he loves spicy foods. And it was almost too much for him to take. He had to take multiple breaks throughout the meal to kind of, let his mouth cool off a little bit from, the heat of the dish. Now, I am not so crazy about spicy, so again, I chose the mild. And what was interesting about the mild spices with this dish was that it actually ended up coming out pretty sweet. Almost too sweet. It was just kind of odd. It was hard for me to wrap my head around eating chicken that had a, kind of a really sweet taste to it. And so the dishes that we got actually came, kind of separate. There was the bowl of the chicken with just a ton of the sauce, which I absolutely love. I am a sauce person, so that was fantastic. I love that it came with so much sauce. And then it comes with a separate dish of rice. At first glance, it really doesn't seem like that much food, and I was kind of a little let down by the fact that, the meal cost $16 for one dish, and it was just kind of this little plate of not very much chicken. It seemed like it maybe amounted to like one chicken breast that was, diced up. But combined with the rice, it is actually so filling, so it is deceptive. It does seem like it's not going to be that much food, but it was honestly more than I could finish. I think I only ate about maybe 3/4 of it, and then my husband finished it off. Now, my sister-in-law, who I mentioned is the reason we went to this restaurant, and the one that loves Indian food, did say that it was not quite as good as what she was used to having back home, but it was still good. She still liked it. The restaurant itself is pretty okay. It's quiet, it's not super brightly lit, which is nice. It just makes for a nice, calming, relaxing place to go and have a meal and a good conversation, so that was fantastic. I will say, though, the service in the beginning was poor. We started off with a gentleman that was waiting on us, and he took our order, and everything started off great. But after we placed our order, about 10 minutes went by, and we still had not gotten our drinks. Myself and my sister-in-law ordered 2 soft drinks, and my future brother-in-law ordered a beer, and like I said, 10 minutes, and we had not gotten anything. He had not come back to our table at all. And so another woman actually came by to refill our water glasses because they were all empty at this point because we were thirsty. And we let her know that we were still waiting on our actual drinks, and she actually ended up being the one that served us for the rest of the night. She brought their drinks out right away, and she was super great and attentive and very, very pleasant and apologetic for the rest of the meal. But the guy, we saw him around the restaurant, so he just stopped serving us, and she became our waitress instead. So I'm not really sure what the deal with that was. And actually, now that I think about it, our drinks couldn't have been on the tab because she did come back and say at the end that she was not charging us for the drinks because it did take us so long to get them, and, it was a way of apologizing. And she actually did take the coupon that we had brought for the buy one, get one half off essentially, and she applied it to my sister-in-law and her fiance's ticket. So even though there was a limit of 1 per table, and even though we weren't on a check together, she still applied the coupon to their ticket as well, also as a way of apologizing. So I thought that was fantastic. I understand that mistakes are made, and I can be a very forgiving person if the proper steps are taken. I can forgive a lot from a server or a company if they actually do something to make it right, and she more than did that, so I ended up leaving the experience very happy about the service that we received, even though there was that issue in the beginning. Now, one great thing about Indian food is that they do have a lot of vegetarian options, so if you are a vegetarian, this might be a fantastic place for you to go and try some different dishes. And I do want to mention that my husband is actually even more picky than I am. He is less adventurous with food than I am, and he thoroughly enjoyed his food, so I was very surprised and happy that he did. I was not expecting him to like it at all, but he really enjoyed it, and we both have already kind of decided that we would like to go back at some point when they have their buffet so that we can try a few other things, because I didn't love my dish, but I certainly didn't dislike it by any means. So I am absolutely open to trying more, and I think that this restaurant would be great for that, but I would definitely rather go when there's a buffet and I can try out a lot of different things and find a dish that I really like, because at, $15, $16, $17, $18 for a dish, it's a little expensive to, order something and then find out you're actually not that crazy about it. So I want to mention that the restaurant actually has 2 separate websites, and I'm not really sure why. One of them has their coupon on it, and the other one has a better menu on it. The website with the coupon has just like an actual photograph of the menu and you can't read it at all. But the other website that does not have the coupon has a full actual menu built into the site so that you can take a look at it and you can actually even order online. So I'm going to link to both websites in the show notes on my website so that you can have access to the menu and the coupon if you would like to check out India Palace for yourself. And you can find those show notes at springspodcast.com/044. And of course, those are the actual numbers 044. That is going to wrap it up for today, but I want to invite you to come back tomorrow where I am going to be making a special announcement regarding the future of this podcast. Thank you so much for joining me, and I will see you back here tomorrow.